Methodist Men and Bluegrass District United. Talking about the No Man Left Behind, Chapter 5 in the Man Code. To build a sustainable ministry to men, you will need a solid foundation. Start with your focus. Yes, men need to be godly fathers, caring husbands, good stewards, and servant leaders. How can we communicate it to men so that they feel valued and inspired? Laying the right men to connect with the ministry of your church. The Bible tells us in Matthew 28 verse 19, go and make disciples, baptizing of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Sometimes we get this confused with go and make workers, browbeating them in the name of the Holy Spirit. Jesus doesn't just call churches to make workers, but disciples. The purpose of disciples, not workers. Men don't enjoy being made to go on a forced march. True disciples become workers out of the overflow. Yeah, that's true. When you fall in love with Christ and you want to show everything you can for Christ, that does happen. The Bible does, however, calls us to pray for workers. The harvest is so great that the workers are few. Jesus to the one in charge of harvesting and asked him to recruit more workers for his field harvest. Too often we set the agenda for our ministry and then pester men until they get involved. We make sure that we have all of our slots for workers. Some way, someone might become a disciple. Here's a key idea. If your church, a men's ministry, focus on getting men to do what works rather than and you will lose your steam. Yeah, because eventually you get them doing everything and they just get burnt out. We only need to do a little. Instead, focus on making disciples and then pray God will raise up the workers for his kingdom. Picture yourself as praying. For years you have recruited lawyers but left them on their own. Without guidance and training, we have done more harm than good. Unresolved consider your firms an embarrassment and the public thinks you are incompetent. Suppose you go to your board of directors and ask them to hire another. Nuts! You haven't trained the lawyers we have. Why would we let you hire more? Why would we would have. In fact, several young people who interned with us have quit the law practice. You're fired. A law firm that does law. So what does this mean for the church that doesn't produce disciples? It ain't much of a church. We just come showing up and we just become like a, in a sense, a bad picture, bad representation of the church for the public to see. Because we're supposed to be the eyes and the ears and the heart of Jesus. Order priority. Jesus said, go and make disciples. That's interesting because he could have said anything he didn't say. Go and make worshipers. He didn't say go and make workers, nor did he say go and make tithers. Is Jesus tithers? Of course he is. But he knew we wouldn't get worshipers by making worshipers and so forth. We get and workers by making disciples. Suppose a family has attended church for 3 months. What would they think is the first priority? The organizing idea of your church. 1 week they heard a sermon about priority of worship. The next week they heard that they need to be cheerful givers. The following week they heard in Sunday school that committed believers go on mission trips. And the week after that they were asked during a service to attend evangelism training. In the small group they joined, they learned about compelling needs at a crisis pregnancy center. A weekend seminar study and devotion. If you were a new family, what would you think? It might look undifferent and different joining activities. And right here, it shows this little diagram here, and you got going market, teaching, Christian literature, and then down the side you got leadership training, informal discussion, Bible study, service, missions, worship, fellowship, discipleship, evangelism, stewardship, social justice, vocation, and small groups. Look at this collection of concepts. It is helpful to organize them into two middle items: godly families, service, missions, worship, fellowship, discipleship, and evangelism, and stewardship